Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, in our last video we did this slide up icon with a little link and a bit of text there, and somebody was asking, can you do that with a slide down instead of a slide up? And the answer is yeah, sure you can. We have to go about it slightly differently. We've got to use a bit of negative margin instead of padding like we're doing on this one, but it's really easy to do. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. And I'm going to go over here, and again, if you watch the other video, you know a lot of this already. So let's add a new module, a little dark button there to add a new module. Divi comes as standard with all these modules. We're going to use the blurb module for this today. We could use the icon module, but I want to use the blurb because A, it's got an icon, and B, we can add some text if we want to under our little icon there. So let's use the blurb module. Just going to click on it and it's popped it in there. Let's move this over here so we can see. By default it pops up with an image, title and a bit of text there. I'm going to get rid of the title. I really don't want a title on mine. And the text, I'm going to put click here or whatever you want to put. If you want to put anything text in there, you can have text and title if you want to. That's going to work for me. I'm going to drop down. I want to use an icon rather than an image for this, so I'm going to flip the little switch to add an icon. Divi's just upgraded its icon list with Font Awesome, so there's a lot to choose from here. You can either scroll down, you can do a little search there, or if you want to explore, you can use that little icon there to pop out and explore. Let's just throw a little heart in there today. Like I say, you could do a search if you want specific things. How about that little heart right there? That works for me. Okay, so we've got a bit of text and we've got an icon there. Now if you watch any of my hover image to text hover videos before, you know the way that this works is the image that we look at initially resides in the column, the same column as our module is in right there. And what we do is slide the module in over the top of the image. So let's go into our column and add an image. So it's blue tab for a section, green tab for a row. I'm going to go into the row. I'm working on column 3, column 1 on the left, 2 in the middle, 3 on the right. I'm going to go down to the background. Well, we've got color, gradient, image, which is the one we want, video, background pattern, and background mask. They've just added these two, and they're nice little additions there, but I'm going to throw an image in there today, and we'll pop that image in. Okay, and as you can see, we've got our image there. You can barely read the writing there, but we'll fix all that in just a moment. So while we're in the column, what I actually want to do is make this column a fixed height and hide anything that falls out of it by turning the overflow to hidden. That way we can push our little icon up to the top here and not see it when it spills out of our column. So to do that, I'm going to go to the advanced. First I'm going to write a tiny little bit of CSS so we can give it a fixed height. So I've gone into the custom CSS under the advanced tab. In the main element, I'm just going to write height. Say 350 pixels is the height that I want it. As you can see, that image is now stretched to 350 pixels tall, and it'll stay that height. Let's put a semicolon in there in case we want to add some more code. Okay, while we're still in the column settings, I'm going to close up the custom CSS. I'm going to go down to visibility. And here we'll find horizontal and vertical overflow. I'm going to change both of those to hidden. That way, as we mentioned, anything that falls outside, whether it's left, right, up and down, when we start pushing this module around, will not be seen. So great, we're happy with our little column there. Let's start working on the module itself. So I'm going to save the column, I'm going to save the row settings, and we'll go back into our little module. Okay, well the first thing I really want to do is make that text white and also make the icon white so we can see it. So let's go over to design, image and icon. I'm going to make that white. Obviously you make yours whatever color you want. Okay, so I'm going to roll down now to my text. We're using the body text for that little click here. You've got text, title text and body text all separately, and they've all got the general things you'd find for text editing. Divi comes as standard with a crazy amount of fonts, If you want to audition one, just roll it over it and it'll show you an example. Like I say, there are just absolutely hundreds of fonts here, but I'm going to stay just with the default here. But if you want to change, you've got a lot to choose from there. I want to make it white so we can see it. There it is right there. And I want to pop it in the middle. Now the only problem I've really got with that is that's a little too far away from my icon. I want it sort of close up to the bottom of it. And the only way to do that really is writing another tiny bit of code. And again, it's really simple. So while we're in the blurb, we'll go over to our advanced, go into our custom CSS again. If we roll down to the blurb image, I know we're using an icon, but that still counts as the image for this. I'm going to say margin bottom 0, colon 0 pixels. That way it's just jumped it up to just below our little heart there, which is what I want. Okay, well, let's start adjusting our little heart to where we want it. So I'm going to go back to the design, going to go down to spacing, and let's just see where we want it when they hover over it. So common to most Divi modules, if you hover over the dark writing, you'll see some icons appear. There's a little arrow there, as there is in this case. We can set a desktop state when we're not hovering over it, and a hover state when we are hovering over it. So when we're hovering over it, I want it to be kind of in the middle here. So let's say padding top. From memory from my other one, I think I used 115. We'll take a look. That's fairly close. Let's take it down maybe to 100. I think the icon might be a bit bigger. Yeah, that works for me. And I'm also going to put plenty of padding on the bottom so that we're going to put a little darkener on this so you can read that in a minute. So let's give it, say, 150 on the bottom. You won't see any difference there, but we've got a bit of padding there. Okay, and so when we're not hovering over it, desktop state, I don't want to see it at all. So I'm going to give it a lot of margin on the bottom. I know that's 350 tall, so I'm actually going to give it 300 on the bottom, say. Just put in the 300, it'll put the pics for you. Now I'm going to drag this up with some negative margin, so it's disappearing up here so we can't see it. So I need to drag it up by about 100, 150 maybe. So I'm going to flip it down to a negative value, or you can just type in negative if you want to. So I'm going to try negative 150. Yeah, that's disappeared. And again, we want to roll over, get our hover state up, because on desktop I don't want to see it, but when we go on to hover state, I do want to see it. So I'm going to put that to 0, and that's going to pop that back down. So we've got that and this. Now when we're hovering on it, I want it to have a slightly dark background so we can read it a little bit better there. So let's go to our content tab, go to background, and again I'm going to go over and get up the hover and desktop states. Desktop, I really don't want a background at all, but I'm going to put it in transparent so we've got something to actually transform from when it goes to the dark one. When we hover over it and it's down here, I'm going to put a slightly black background on so we can read everything nicely. Just click on the field and you'll see these two sliders. The variegated one is opacity or transparency or see-throughness. So slide it down to where you want to so you can see your icon and read your writing nicely. And of course, because we put a click here in there, I want to add a link too. So if we close out the background now, just make sure it's going to be gone on desktop. So we've got that. And we've got a slightly darkened down version there. I might take that opacity back up just slightly. There we go. So it's obviously darkened down. Okay, so we can close up our background now. Just above background, you'll find a link. And we've got no title in this particular one. If you have, you can use this if you want to. But I want the whole module to link to somewhere when they click on it. So you can just put your link in there. I'm just putting a hashtag in for a placeholder. Obviously, you have a real link. And always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, leave it in the same window. If you're linking off-site to somebody else's, open it in a new tab so your site stays open. Great, so we got our link and we got our hover effect. Now the time it actually takes to go from desktop to hover version is 300 milliseconds with Divi by default. I like to slow it down for a bit of drama, so I'm going to go over to advanced and down to transitions. And if you need to, you can speed it up by putting that to the left, or slow it down by dragging it to the right. You can type in a value if you want, and you can increment up and down with the little arrows. Don't want any delay, and the transition speed curve I want to use for this today is ease in, ease out. They're all subtly different. Some will work better than others in certain situations, but ease in, ease out is usually my go-to for hover effects. Okay, well, if we've done everything correctly, that should work for us now. Let's save the changes. Save our page changes, little purple button here. And exit the visual builder. Okay, there's our image on the right there. When I hover anywhere on it, our little heart's going to pop down like that. And it's going to darken down slightly, as you see. So there you go, guys. There's how to have an icon on hover with a link and a bit of text there. And that's a nice little effect to have on your site. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.